Hey, it's Drummond. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you know whenever I post my next video. So today's video, I wanted to talk about who we see when we look in the mirror. I know that when it comes to the person that I see today, it is a very, very different person than who I used to see when I looked in the mirror. I know that when I was younger, I used to stand in front of the mirror and just kind of stare at myself and just pick myself apart because there wasn't a lot that I saw in the mirror that I really loved about myself. And I think that a lot of people experience that as well when they look in the mirror, mainly because when we look at Instagram, when we look at magazines, YouTube, movies, we see these picture perfect people. And even when we go out and hang out with our friends, a lot of times we don't see our friends' flaws and we see them as these beautiful people. And then when we look at ourselves, we don't have those loving eyes that we have when we look at our friends and kind of overlook anything that might be considered a flaw to them. Something that I think is always really interesting is when people point out like blemishes or pimples or something that's wrong with their face, or maybe even like a stain on your clothing. To you, that is like the main focus of everyone's day. You feel like as soon as you walk into the room, that is what everyone notices. But for most people, we don't notice those types of things until you actually point them out. I can't tell you how many friends have been sitting there talking to me, and I'm just sitting there kind of enjoying the conversation, and then they're like, and then this huge pimple right here. And then my eye goes, oh wow, there's a pimple on your face. Didn't even notice it. I feel like a lot of people think that like the aesthetics of things matter a lot more than it does. Of course, when it comes to like producing things and putting them on large billboards, or like when it comes to advertising, you want high quality, good quality content. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't have to do so much with like your blemishes or if one eye is bigger than the other. Because at the end of the day, like those are things that make you unique and those are the things that make you special. And I think a lot of us get so caught up on it, we forget to focus on the things that actually matter, which is the type of person that you are. Are you a good person? That doesn't really shine through the mirror. I personally think that your eyes kind of shine when you're a good person. I know that when I'm around my friends that I consider great people, like there's this shine about them that I just can't help but to look at. That like blocks out anything else when I'm looking at them, because honestly, if you're a good person, I think that that shines through anything else that maybe society has slapped on us to make us believe we're not good enough for some reason. When I'm working with my clients, one of the big things that I try to get them to understand is that when it comes to changing ourselves, when it comes to how we present ourselves to the world, it doesn't matter if we slap on a lot of makeup, it doesn't matter if we slap on a lot of filters, and it doesn't matter if we go to the gym and put on a lot of muscle and lose weight. If we haven't taken the time to heal our mindset, then none of that really matters, because you can put on makeup and look at yourself in the mirror and go, now you're beautiful. And then you can be in public and someone kind of look at you and you're like, oh my gosh, something's wrong with my makeup, something's wrong with my face, do I have something on me? And it's that mindset that kind of is the setback for you. It's not the looks, it's really not like about the weight, it's more about how we perceive the world. I had to make a huge mindset shift when I started putting content out on the internet, mainly because I had to realize that when it comes to hateful comments, a lot of times that's coming from people who are hurting themselves. And those people just are kind of lashing out because they're in a really painful spot in life and they're kind of just pulling everyone else down into the black hole with them. As well as when I go out in public, when people are staring at me, I used to have that mindset where I was like, oh my gosh, it's because my hair is messed up. Oh my gosh, it's because I look tired because I haven't slept very much last night. But after I made that mind shift, I started to realize that a lot of the things that happened when I had the different mindset are still happening to me today, but the way that I kind of translate it in my brain is a little bit different. So when someone's staring at me, I'm like, oh, they must think I'm cute. versus like, oh my gosh, they're staring at me because of this, this, and that. I think it's really important to realize that when you have those insecurities, when you run into those moments where you hit those negative emotions or negative feelings when certain things come up, that those are times that you need to kind of sit there and analyze it and kind of heal those parts of yourself. I know that for me, putting myself out there on the internet, a lot of people threw shade, a lot of trolls on the internet threw hateful comments my way, and some didn't hurt and some did. And that was when I kind of took a step back and I was like, okay, why did this one hurt a lot more and this one didn't? Then I started to realize that as I started healing those different parts of myself that were like triggered by these hateful responses, I realized that it is possible to kind of step back and heal and kind of navigate through the world in a better way. And that's why I always suggest counseling. That's why I always suggest like getting your mental health under control and learning to love yourself, because navigating the world in a headspace where you're just kind of floating around in negative thoughts is really hard. And at the end of the day, it doesn't help you move towards your goals any faster. So the quicker you can heal yourself, which I will tell you right now, start now, because it's a long process. I mean, every day I find new parts about myself that I have to work on. And there's some times where I kind of relapse back into some of my negative mindsets, and I have to kind of stop myself and then kind of work on and heal those parts of myself, because it's not healthy to kind of navigate through the world. When it comes to starting a new job, when it comes to starting a new relationship, when it comes to being out with your friends, you want to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward, because a lot of times it can be a really small trigger that can kind of like snowball effect into like this huge dramatic thing for you. Whereas if you had taken that time, instead of just numbing it or painting over it with makeup or going to the gym and not working on the mindset and just kind of making yourself look more buff, which you thought was going to be the solution to insecurities that you had, you have to work on those. And once you heal your mindset and the way that you really feel about yourself, you'll be able to go out into the world and have that positive perspective instead of looking at places from a negative state of mind. I will say that when I first started doing this, it felt a little bit ridiculous and it really did feel very unnatural. I was always really good at complimenting my friends and boosting them up and trying to help them kind of see themselves in a better light, but I was never really good at doing it for myself. It took a lot of kind of standing in front of the mirror and just saying, hey, you look good today, and then walking away. Because the longer I stood in front of that mirror, the more things I started to kind of pick apart of myself. Honestly, as a YouTuber, as someone who posts things on Instagram as well, like I see myself a lot. So I've had to kind of learn to kind of fall in love with myself for who I am and not wish things upon myself to be different or look at certain things of myself and compare it to other people. Because at the end of the day, the only person I can be is me. The only person that you can be is you. And as soon as we realize that that is perfect, then we can start to move forward in a way that is productive for us. And it's going to bring us into a future that's going to have people surrounding us that love us, because people can't love us if we don't love ourselves. I've told so many different people this, because at the end of the day, if you don't love yourself, when other people tell you that they love you or that you're beautiful, if you don't believe it, it goes on deaf ears, because at the end of the day, like, you believe yourself more than anyone else. And I always tell people that when it comes to lies, you don't want to tell friends lies. You don't want to tell coworkers lies, because when they say, good job, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're talented, and you've lied to these people, then you start to have those thoughts in the back of your head saying, if they only knew the real you, they wouldn't be saying that. And then you aren't able to accept those compliments from people. At the end of the day, I just want everyone to be able to stand in front of a mirror and just say, I love the person staring back at me. because that is the person that has gotten you to today. That's the person that has gotten you through all the tough times that you've been through already, and it's going to be there for you for all the tough times that are coming in the future, because life isn't perfect. It's not always rainbow and butterflies, but you are always going to be there for yourself. So you're never actually really alone, even though sometimes being your own support system can feel a little bit lonely. Sometimes we've got to do that to kind of step into the next stage in life. And I know that for me, that meant letting go of some of what I thought was going to be something that was in my life forever, and it didn't end up being that way. But I let go of it. I trusted myself. I stood alone for a little bit. After I kind of stepped into that new stage, I started becoming surrounded by people that vibed with the new energy that I was putting out. And the energy I was putting out was like self-love, self-confidence, authenticity. I promise you, when you start the process of self-love, when you start looking in that mirror and just giving yourself some like confidence boost, giving yourself some compliments, like, you will see a difference, I promise you. Hopefully you all are enjoying my videos this month. I'm definitely enjoying making them. As always, feel free to leave some comments in the comment section below. Follow me on all my other social medias. I'll leave that link below. Getting some new social media platforms started, so definitely be looking out for those, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.